Thank you for joining me today. That's right. Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining me today. Glad you guys could make it. We're talking about all kinds of stuff today. Hey everybody, good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to the show today. Thank you for joining me on the Real Estate Connection here on KFAX 1100 out of San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose, Morgan Hill, San Martin, and Gilroy. Thanks for joining me today as we're talking about real estate yet again. Real estate in the market in California, real estate for the nation. And we have a couple of topics I'd like to share with you today, but I hope you're having a good Valentine's Day week and that you've had a good Valentine's Day depending on when you're watching or listening to this program. I hope what you are going to do or what you did do for your special sweetheart went well, whether it was flowers, candy, a nice romantic meal, movies, jewelry, or even a weekend getaway. You know, you could have taken your lovely bride or your handsome husband or your significant other out for a trip away, and I hope you've enjoyed that or you're in the process of enjoying that. Whatever it may be, remember this: love never fails, and love is patient. Love is kind, love does not envy, love does not boast, and love is not proud. Just a reminder for all of us, whether you're in a relationship or not, those are the character traits of love. Whether you have a best friend, a partner, a loved one, a husband, a spouse, or brother or sister, aunt and uncle, we all love each other, and these are the characteristics of love. So just a friendly reminder for all of those of us who are celebrating Valentine's Day, the Hallmark holiday that is on the horizon coming up this weekend or has already gone past us. All right, and for those of you out there without a sweetie to celebrate Valentine's Day this year, congratulations on all the money you saved. Right? Because we all know that Valentine's Day is not free. So, congratulations to you, and I hope your wallet is fat and your bank account is growing, especially if you're getting ready to buy a house. You may have had to sacrifice a little bit on the Valentine's Day festivities this year if you're getting ready to buy a home, which is a good thing, because what better ultimate present than there is to give the gift of a home or a new condo or townhouse to your significant other. Now, let's get down to the topic of today's show before I run out of time upon digressing in different ways. Today, I would like to bless you with the following, okay? 55 and over property tax portability in California. This is a topic that's recently come up in my business as I've been dealing with a client, a return client that I've worked with years ago that are now in the process of selling a home, moving to a new property, and this came up, and so I thought I would share it with you. It's useful information whether you're getting ready to sell or not right now, or if you're planning to sell in the future, or maybe you are younger and you have parents, or you're taking care of an older parent, and this might be something that's useful information to you as well. And then also, if you're getting ready to buy a home, what documents you need to gather when applying for a home loan. It can be a daunting task gathering all this information, so I thought I would bless you with information now. Create a checklist and maybe start gathering stuff together if you're thinking about getting ready to purchase a home in the near future. It's just information that you can start and do it slowly rather it being a fire drill when you're scrambling to look for all the stuff that you're going to need in order to get through the lending process. So speaking of blessings, I would like to bless you today. If you email me for a no obligation appointment to give an estimate on the value of your home or just sit down to discuss the prospect of buying a home, I have a gift for you. This is a must-have book for any family preparing for an emergency, and it's called The Family Preparedness Buyer's Guide. Now, I've looked through this book multiple times myself, and I've also used the content from the book to help supplement the shows that I've done here on the radio, on Real Estate Connection radio, to help you prepare for the eventuality of an emergency, whether that be the lights going out through rolling blackouts that we've dealt with from Pacific Gas and Electric here in California, or whether the possibility of an earthquake. And if you're listening to me from out of state, maybe you're dealing with tornadoes or hurricanes and natural disasters of that nature. So this bestseller will provide you and your family with information on the best survival gear, whether that's tents, camping equipment, tools such as shovels, cooking gear, weapons for self-defense, because when the emergencies happen, there are bad people that come out and try to take advantage of the distraction from the police officers that are out there to protect us. And a lot of those people have families as well, and they're going to be home protecting their loved ones and doing those types of activities as well. So the chapters in the book include emergency shelter, fire and clothing, emergency food and cooking gear, communication and navigation, and like I said, survival weapons. I have a copy of this book, and it's a very easy read with lots, and I say lots, of useful information in it. If you contact me for a no obligation appointment to discuss the value of your home, if you're getting ready to sell here in the spring of 2020, or if you're looking to purchase a home this year in 2020, I'd be happy to sit down and help you. You can contact me directly at info@realestateconnectionradio.com. That's info@realestateconnectionradio.com. Now, let's get down to business. If you're 55 and over, how do you move your property tax base to your next home? And this is a topic that recently came up for me as I've been working with a past client and listing their house for sale and buying a brand new construction replacement property in another city. So even if you do not qualify now, you are not thinking of moving right now, you may have an older parent who is thinking of moving, but they are concerned with affordability, with property taxes on a new property, and it's just good information to know for future planning. So like I said, the reason the topic came up is I have a client in the process of selling their current home, buying a replacement property. They've been in their house currently for 10 years, and they're using the gain in equity to purchase their dream house. They're currently paying tax based on the purchase price of their house that they're living in now, which they purchased 11 years ago. And the new home that they're buying is significantly more in purchase price than what they paid for the house that they're currently living in. So the new property tax payment has a significant impact on their new monthly mortgage payment, because when you're paying your mortgage, you're not just paying principal and interest, but you're also paying property taxes that are divided out in 12 monthly payments, and you're also paying the insurance on your house. So we call it in the industry PITI, property, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. And so I knew my new clients were close to my age, and I'm 52, but I didn't know if they crossed the threshold into being 55 and over. So I asked if maybe they would qualify, and lo and behold, one of them did. I went and looked to see what the qualifications were, and they fit. They met the qualifications. So it made a huge difference in payments and the affordability of their new home. Now, Marco, my beautiful, wonderful producer, says that I have a minute, which means I probably have 30 seconds. So we're going to roll into the break, and when I get back, we're going to dig deeper into property tax portability and run through an example of how it would affect you. So stay with me. Thanks for joining me. Those of you who are watching live, you're just going to hang out for a quick break. And those that are listening to me on the radio, we're going to go pay some bills so that we can keep this show on the air. And I'll see you when I get back. All right, man. We're rocking and rolling. Who we got behind the glass today, Marco? Oh, nice. Nice to meet you, brother. So we're going to keep rolling. And thank God I have this mic turned down. Otherwise, you guys would I'd be screaming in your ears. So, for all my live guests, live viewers, I'm broadcasting on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Periscope. So if you're watching me live on any one of those platforms, especially YouTube, hit the like and subscribe button, and share with all of your friends if you find this information useful. And once the show is done, it will be archived on YouTube, also on Facebook, and it will be turned into a podcast that you can catch on realestateconnectionradio.com. That's realestateconnectionradio.com. So without any further ado, we are going to move back into recording the radio show. So Marco's going to play the bumper music, and we're going to get going again. Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. Thank you for joining me on Saturday morning at 8 a.m. at a KFAX 1100 out of San Francisco, Oakland, and San Jose. And for my South County friends, that's Morgan Hill, Gilroy, and San Martin. If you have a hard time catching us through the air, you can always log into iHeartRadio.com. Again, that's iHeartRadio, and download the app on your phone. Onto your device, and you can find KFAX 1100 on the app and listen to us through the app. That's the Real Estate Connection and our iHeartRadio app. So we were talking about how to buy a property and bring your current property tax with you, and why this has come up. Like I said before, I have a client that's dealing with this right now, and we had just discussed basically how it can affect your payments, bring it down, especially when you're buying a house that's significantly more than what you've purchased your previous property for. So we're going to run through a simple example of how property tax portability actually works. So bear with me. We're going to do this bullet point by bullet point, and hopefully you have a pencil and piece of paper and can take some notes. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out. Okay, so you purchase your home that you're living in, and we go back in time, back in 1999, say for $500,000, right? So then your property tax, at least in Santa Clara County, is calculated based on that $500,000 purchase price. And for this county, the property tax rate is generally set at 1.5%. Now, there's some add-ons depending on where you live for other fundings for schools or for libraries or other special spending depending on the neighborhood and the city that you live in. So we're just going to use the 1.5% property tax rate for the county of Santa Clara. So 1.5% times 500,000 is $7,500 annually. And what you'll do is if you're going to pay this through your mortgage, it's called an impound account, and they're going to calculate what the property tax is for a year, and they're going to divide that into 12 payments and add it to your monthly mortgage payment, and then your lender will collect that dollar amount for you over the year, and then every time a property tax payment comes due, they will pay that out to the county assessor. Larry Stone here in Santa Clara County. And can I get a boo for Larry Stone? Because he gets this every time I go hear him speak. They say, oh, the property tax assessor, Larry Stone, and we get the... That's right. And he loves it. He loves it. So, Larry, if you're watching or listening to the show, I'm just paying homage to you because nobody likes the tax collector. All right. So, you're $7,500 for the year on a $500,000 purchase in 1999. So, let's say you hold your property for 21 years and now it's worth $1,100,000. However, because of Proposition 13 and the restrictions it puts on counties on how quickly they can raise your property taxes each year, you're still paying property taxes on the original purchase price base of $500,000 a year, plus minor increases over time. And in interest of not losing you guys in this show, I'm not going to get into the details of how quickly it rises. But let's just say it's not to the level of $1,100,000. Because if that happened, there'd be a lot of people that would get priced out of their property because they may be able to afford the interest on the loan and the principal on the loan and even the insurance on the loan. But if you start raising property taxes now based on a $1,100,000, especially people who are in a fixed income situation or maybe are unemployed and living off of savings, that could really drive people right out of their homes. And that's a whole nother conversation. So now you're ready to purchase another home and you want to buy something else. I didn't do the calculation on $1,000,001, so we're just going to do this live. That's the beauty of radio. I can just do this real quick. So $1,100,000 times 0.0015 equals, 1,100,000. Doing this live, so bear with me. I know, times 0.015 equals, that would be $16,650 a year. Okay, so that's a lot of money. That's a huge increase from $7,500 a year. So now you're ready to purchase another home. Now, if you're 55 and over, you can bring that property tax base of $500,000 with you to your new property. Okay, that is a significant amount of savings in how much you would be paying. Okay, so how does it actually work in the nuts and bolts of it all? Okay, we're going to go through that. So it was based off of Proposition 60. Okay, and it allows homeowners 55 years of age or older to transfer the base year value, which means your base year is the year that you purchased the property and the dollar amount you paid for it, of your principal residence to a newly purchased or constructed replacement residence within Santa Clara County. So this is restricted to the county, and I know what you're thinking. Well, I heard that there's other counties in California that participate in the program as well. It's not just Santa Clara County. You're right. So we're going to get to that at the end of the show, okay? So we'll get into that later. Okay, so where were we? All right, so resident Santa Clara. So you can transfer the base year value one time, okay? That's one time. So currently, if you're 55 and over and you want to do this, you can move it once. If you don't like where you moved to and you want to do it again, you can't. You've only allowed to do it one time. So that's the way the law is written now. There is a Prop 5 out there that's being sponsored by the California Association of Realtors that proposes to change this law, and I don't have the details of it with me. I was hoping to have that for today's show, but I don't. In a future show, I'm going to bring that forward, and we'll go through the details of what is going to hopefully be on the ballot in November. They're collecting signatures for this proposition as we speak, and it could be in our near future, but I digress. So you can only transfer it once, and the claimant or the claimant's spouse must be 55 or over. So if, for instance, you're married to somebody younger than you, if you're 55 and the other person's younger, you can still do it. It doesn't mean both parties in a married situation. It just means one of the two that own the property must be 55 or over. Now, the replacement property has to be equal or lesser value of home sold if the replacement is purchased before the primary residence is sold. So when I first read that, I was like, what does that mean? What are you talking about? I mean, I kind of get it, but let's break it down. So your home that you have now that you bought, going back to our example of 1999, was purchased for $500,000, and now its value in year 2020 is worth $1,100,000. It's based on the sold value of your home. So it's not based on its value, it's what you sell it for. So if it's worth $1,100,000 and you sell it for $1,100,000, you can buy another house equal to $1,100,000 if you complete the purchase of your replacement property before you sell your primary residence. So if you close escrow on your replacement property before completing the sale of your primary residence, you can buy 100% of the value of your current home. So I'm saying that it's the sale value. However, check with the county, because now that I'm doing this, it's coming to my mind that maybe you could get an appraiser to go out and give you an appraised value, and that may be enough to give you the value of your home besides the market value of what it's sold. I'm not sure as to whether that or not that is true. However, check with the county. It just came to me while I'm doing this right now. So Marco says, how much time do I have left? I have a minute. So we're going to wrap this little section up and we're going to come back and finish it up. But so if you sell your home, if you don't have your home sold before you buy your replacement property, and you buy your replacement property, you can buy 100% of your current home's value. So that's $1,100,000, and then you're paying property taxes on your original base year of $500,000. So that's right. So when we get back from the break, we're going to talk about what happens if you sell your home first and then you buy your replacement property later. So stay with me. I know this is a lot and it's in detail. If any part of it is confusing, contact me at info@realestateconnectionradio.com, and I'd be happy to walk through your specific situation. We will be back when we get back from the break. We'll see you in a minute. All right. All right, we're doing well. All right, so I'm going to pop my friend Gene up on screen. Doing great. Keep going. Thanks, Gene. I appreciate it, brother. I got to love it. All right, so this is a lot to take in, but I think it's really helpful information. And there's a lot of baby boomers out there that qualify for this. And you may have parents that are in this age bracket and they're thinking about downsizing, but they're worried about property taxes. And we're going to get into that detail in a little bit as well. So I'm going to ask my, not have, when you say have, it's like, it's not respectful. So I'm going to ask if my producer would spin up the bumper music, because I respect this man. He's good. If I ever have my own radio show, I'm hiring you, Marco. If I get my own station, I'm going to hire you. Let's syndicate. Let's go nationwide, brother. Let's do it. All right, let's go. Hey everybody, welcome back to today's show as we are talking about property tax portability for those who are 55 and over in Santa Clara County. Very important issue. There are, as I've said before in previous shows, the biggest generation besides the millennials are the baby boomers. And I'm just outside of that generation, just by an inch, an eyelash, and a hair, and I'm 52, which means there's a ton of people in Santa Clara that this will apply to. And what we were speaking about is how do the nuts and bolts of transferring your property tax base work in Santa Clara County. What are the qualifications that you need? And we were discussing that one, you can only do it once. You can transfer this base year one time according to the current law in Proposition 60. And the claimant or claimant's spouse must be 55 and over. So if you're married to somebody who's younger and you're worried that, hey, I'm 55, but my spouse is 52 or 50 or 49, would I still qualify? The answer is yes, because only one of you guys has to be 55 and over, and you can do this. All right, and then the replacement property of equal or lesser value of homes sold if replacement property purchased before primary house sold. So I took this verbiage right out of the Santa Clara County tax assessor's website, and to be honest with you, it's not written very well. So I'm going to break it down again as I did before I left for the break. If you buy your replacement property first before you sell your primary residence, you can buy up to 100% of the value of your current home, current fair market value home, and still port over this base. So we're talking, in the example, if you bought your house in 99 for $500,000 or $500,000 and it's now worth $1.1 million, you can buy a house for $1.1 million and only pay property taxes on the $500,000 base year. And in our example, the 500,000 base year was 7,500, and it's nearly double that at $1,000,001 when you buy a replacement property. So you're saving a great deal of money, a ton of money actually, by doing this property tax portability. However, be warned, you can only do it once as the law is currently written. So be careful where you move to, because if you don't like it and you need to move again, at least in Santa Clara County, you won't be able to do this property tax portability another time. So let's get into what happens if you sell your house first and then buy your replacement property. The news gets even better. So 105% of primary homes sold if replacement property purchased within 1 year of primary home sold. So what does that mean? So if you close escrow on your replacement property after your primary residence is sold, you can purchase up to 105% of the sale price of your previous primary residence. So that means, in the example, if you have a replacement if your home is worth $1,100,000 and you're buying your replacement property after your home's sold, you can buy up to 105% of that. And that number is $1,155,000. So you can go up in value and still carry over that tax base of $500,000, which is huge. It's especially huge in Santa Clara County. However, here's the catch. The sale of your primary home must qualify for reassessment. So what does that mean? That means whoever buys your house cannot be exempted, or for some reason in the law, the house cannot be exempted from reassessment when you sell your property to the next buyer. So in my mind, what I think is that if somebody else is trying to move over their property tax base and they're buying your house, that's going to knock you out of the ability to move over your base that you're currently in. So you have to try to make sure you sell your house to somebody who's buying it that doesn't qualify for the reassessment who doesn't qualify for the property tax portability. Either they've done it once already and they can't do it a second time, or they're not 55 and over and the house is going to be reassessed for property taxes. So that's one catch. And then the second catch is the primary home must have been eligible for the homeowner's exemption in Santa Clara County. So when I read that, I immediately thought to myself, what the heck is the homeowner's exemption in Santa Clara County? What does that mean? So I did some quick research, and here are the requirements of a homeowner's exemption. One, so primary owner, co-owner, or named on the purchase contract. So that's the first piece, and must occupy home as principal place of residence. So what does that mean? That means you must be the primary owner or co-owner on the current house, or you had to have been named on the purchase contract when it was purchased. So that gets into all kinds of weird scenarios, right? So what happens if it's a husband and a wife and say a father and a mother wanted to all buy the house together, right? And they needed help, and so they're all on title. Or you have a co-owner other than a family member that's on the title of the property. That's what that's talking about. Then you also must occupy the home as your principal residence. So in a regular scenario where you have a person and their partner who have purchased the home together as the primary residence, they're both probably going to be on the purchase contract and going to be on title, and they're probably going to be living there as a primary residence. So what does that mean as far as what is a primary residence? A primary residence is where you're getting your electric bill, your utility bill being mailed to you, where you've registered your car. It's the address that you have on your voter registration. So that's primarily what a primary residence is. It isn't a place where you're visiting from time time to time. Say like if you're a snowbird and you live out of state in Boise, Idaho, and you have a house in Phoenix and you only go there in the winter, so just to escape the snow, that house in Phoenix is not your primary residence. Your primary residence is probably the house where you're getting all your mail and you're registered to vote, and your state driver's license is on that address as your primary residence. So, as I said in the beginning of the show, I was talking about this works for Santa Clara County, and people I know were probably saying, well, Stephen, I've heard that this is not just Santa Clara County. And I said, yes, you're right, and I'm going to get to that. Well, we're finally here to that point in the program. Okay, what other counties participate in Prop 60? Okay, based on the research that I did on the internet before I put this show together, here are the current counties that participate: Alameda, Los Angeles, Orange County, Riverside County, San Bernardino County, San Diego County, San Mateo County, Tuolumne County, and Ventura County. Those are the counties that are listed that participate. Now, what you need to do to confirm is call those counties before you make any decisions. So if you're living in Santa Clara County and you're thinking, oh, I want to retire and move to San Diego, or move to LA, or move to San Bernardino, call those county tax assessor's office and say, hey, I'm in Santa Clara County. I've heard that I can port my property tax base here if I'm 55 and over into your county. Make sure you make the phone call and get confirmation and that they accept that. So Marco said I had 2 minutes about a minute ago, which means I have a minute. So to wrap this isn't just for people who are looking to move and buy up, or it also could be if you're looking to buy down. What if you're retired, you're on a fixed income, you're living in a big old house, and you're looking for a smaller space? You may have purchased that house back in maybe even the early 80s or mid 80s for like $300,000. And anything that you buy in Santa Clara County that's going to be smaller is going to be somewhere between $750,000 to $800,000, maybe $900,000. Even if you're looking at a 3-bedroom, 2-bath little house with a small backyard. Marco says I have 30 seconds. So when I get back from the break, I'm going to continue down that road and that thought because it's important. I want to highlight this, so don't let me forget. So we're going to go pay some bills. We're going to come back and we're going to wrap up this property tax stuff, and then we're going to get into the second part of our show, which is docs that you need for a loan. So stay with me and I'll be back when we get back from the break. All right, so what does that make us? We have one more long segment. One more long segment. All right, so that's about perfect. All right, Gene, thank you for that great comment. I'm going to take it down. Boop, and it's gone. Yes. So, yeah, I'll put this up there. Miss you too, Gene. Miss you guys. Gene Yukawa is a good friend of mine. I've known for a while, and life has gotten busy, and we haven't seen each other in a while. So I throw that up there as a shout out to you, Gene. Thanks for watching today. All right. Okay, so we're going to get back into the show, and we're going to wrap my final thoughts on property tax portability before we get into documents that you need in order to get a loan. All right. So, Marco, would you spin us back up? Thank you. Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. So we are wrapping this portion on property tax portability in our last long segment here. And the thoughts that I was having before the break, I just want to jump into those real quick because we've been talking about the scenario where you purchased a home and maybe it was your first single family residence, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, maybe 1,500 square feet, and you're looking to move up, right? And you want to get that dream property, and one of the people in your family qualifies for the spouse, and you're going to buy that $1 million home, and you won't have to pay taxes on $1 million. You're going to pay taxes on whatever you bought your house for originally that you're currently living in. But this also works for people who are on fixed incomes. So, for instance, you purchased your home in the mid-'80s. and you're living in a 5-bedroom, 3-bath house, and you maybe bought it for $350,000, which was expensive in that time, and you've paid off your loan. The kids have all moved out, and you're looking to downsize. You've retired. You're on a fixed income. You have grandkids in the area. You have children in the area, and you don't want to move out of Santa Clara County. And you want to sell your house, and you're going to take the equity that you've earned from having the house for so long, and you're going to use that money to buy a replacement property. Well, here's the issue, right? You're used to a certain payments, you have a fixed income, you're used to property taxes being at a certain level, and you feel stuck because everything that you're looking at out there is priced at double of what you purchased your house for, and it's smaller. Right? It's $700,000, $800,000 for your average 3-bedroom, 2-bath house in Santa Clara County, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, I'm going to be paying property taxes on $700,000 or $800,000. It's not exactly. That's the rub, right? It's not that you can't afford the property because you have the equity in your home. Maybe you can even buy it for cash. But the property tax payments are going to keep you from moving out of this big house. And the maintenance is high, the electric bill is high, you're tired of taking care of the front and the backyard, and you're looking to travel, and you just want something that's low maintenance, easy to get in and out of, maybe get into a single story. This is what really releases you from that, right? Because you can take that $350,000 number, your base price that you have in the house that you're currently in, and move it to a new property and keep your payments low. You can buy it for cash, which means you have no mortgage, or maybe you don't buy it for all cash because you want to have somewhat of a mortgage so you can have a tax write-off. And then your property taxes are low. And with the new tax law, you don't want to go over $10,000 on your property taxes that you're paying anyway, because you're not going to get the full deduction on your income tax return. So you can strategically plan on how to move into a smaller property, downsize, take advantage of this property tax portability, and keep your expenses low if you're in a fixed income situation. So that's really the gist behind Prop 60 and the property tax portability. And that's what I really wanted to say. I kind of feel like that's a nice transition to end that topic. So if you have any questions about your specific situation personally, or maybe for a loved one, feel free, reach out. info@realestateconnectionradio.com. Again, that's info@realestateconnectionradio.com. Send me an email. I'll respond back to you. We can have a conversation, maybe sit down for a cup of coffee and go over your details. Okay. So, speaking of moving, right? You're thinking of moving. Most people who are thinking of moving, especially in Santa Clara County, are going to need some sort of a home loan. If you're blessed enough to have enough equity in your home to sell it and pay for it with cash, or maybe you have a fantastic job, you're working in the high-tech industry, and you're getting paid in stock options, and the stock has gone through the roof. You're working for one of our fruit companies. Apple, or you're maybe working for a social media giant in the valley like Facebook, Instagram, or what's the other one? Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Twitter. How could I forget Twitter? You're working for one of those large companies, and you've been blessed with a lot of stock, and you can just cash it out and pay cash. That's great. But there are a lot of people out there who need to get a loan. And getting a loan can be a daunting process. It can be very time consuming, and it can be stressful. Okay, so the way the loan process usually works is you're thinking about buying a house and you want to know where you're at based on your income and your expenses, and you contact the lender, and they're going to ask some very basic questions at first just to kind of pre-qualify you, not pre-approve you, but pre-qualify you to let them know whether or not they would even continue down the loan application process. So they're going to ask to pull your credit, and they're going to ask you basic information about your income and maybe your expenses. And maybe it's just verbal, right? And they're filling in boxes and they're doing the calculations, and they go, yeah, you look good. We can go ahead and start a loan application on you. And that's where the daunting task of the loan application and the completion process of getting final loan approval comes in as to what documents you need. And if you've ever gone through that, if you've gone through this recently and you're shaking your head out there as you're drinking your cup of coffee this morning and you're like, yep, just went through that. I had to dig through boxes, call people. I had to dig up tax returns and all kind of supporting documentation. And I felt like I had been just vetted to be whether or not I could sit for a security clearance in the Pentagon. You know what I'm talking about. So on today's show, I thought I would run through the list of documents that you'll need to have in order to go through full loan approval. And it varies depending on the type of loan that you're seeking to obtain. All right. So let's run through what you would need to get a conventional loan. And I do have to thank, who do I have to thank for this information? Oh, houselogic.com. Thank you very much. I do a lot of internet research now as I've been doing this radio show, and I've run into some very good sources. HouseLogic.com had an article that they put out that I actually have on my social media that you can go and grab either on my Facebook page or my LinkedIn page. But I pulled it from there. And so here are the docs that you need for a conventional loan. So one, identification, and you're going to see this roll over similarly for all these other loans that we're going to bring out as well. So you're going to need some sort of identification. One of these will do. A driver's license, which you should have in your wallet, or a passport, or some other form of state or federally issued ID. And just a reminder out there, folks, this year in 2020, I believe in October, you have to get your real ID in order to travel domestically within the United States of America. So if you've been procrastinating and you're hearing this today, this is your warning. Go out to the DMV, set an appointment online, and get that done. I just recently went through that. You can log on, set up an account, fill out the the questions and answers, and then it'll list out the documents that you need in order to get the real ID, and you can make an appointment. And that way it's set in the future, and you know you can just go in and take care of it. So there's my plug on Real ID. Marco, you're killing me today. You're on fire. Okay, so income. What do you need? Pay stubs for the last 30 days. Okay, so if you get paid every 2 weeks and you're getting electronic emails on your pay stubs and you've just been kind of like not paying attention because it's direct deposit, start going back into your emails and grabbing those. If you're getting them handed to you in an envelope, start keeping track of them or try to find them. If you've been throwing them on the desk in your office and it's underneath a pile of paperwork, start looking for those things, okay? And what's interesting to me is my son has a job and he was getting like a card, like this money card, a cash card. I'm like, since when did they start handing you plastic for payment? That's odd. Like, I like a check. I want to go to the bank and cash something, or at least do a direct deposit. All right. So you need your last 2 federal tax returns. So if you haven't been filing your taxes, get that done. And then your last 2 W-2s. So W-2s are what you get at the end of every year in order to file your taxes. So dig out your 2 tax returns and hopefully your W-2s are with them. And then you're going to need proof of any additional income. So if you have a side hustle, that's what the millennials call it, right? A side hustle. If you have a side job and you need documentation of that, whether it's cash or not, because I know there's some cash. So if you're going to claim that income in order to get your loan, you need documentation of that. Marco says I have a minute, so I'm running out of time on this already. You're going to need, if you have Social Security income, you need proof of that. If you're having alimony getting paid to you, you need proof of that. So I'm going to run through 2 more things. And then last, accounts. So if you have bank accounts, last two statements of all bank accounts, be sure to include all pages, even blank ones, and statements for all investment and or retirement accounts. So when we get back from the break, we're going to keep diving into the documents that you need in order to get a conventional loan. And thank God there's overlap for these other loans, and we'll dive into a couple of those before we end the show today. So we'll see you when we get back from the break. Ooh, I was sensing I was going to go over. So, all right, what's Gene? How about if you are retired? Good question, Gene. How about if you're retired? Yes, if you're retired, source proof of retirement income too. So that's pensions, 401k accounts, payments, IRA distributions, stocks, all that kind of good stuff. Yeah, and I wasn't sure if the how have you retired relates to if we were talking about the property tax portability or income for proof of buying a home. But hey, Gene, you can give me a call, 408-472-0817. All right, so we're going to get going on this since we're on a roll. And I only have 5 minutes left, so I'm going to have to really go fast. So I hope you guys are enjoying the show, and I'm going to ask Marco to spin me up again. Hey, welcome back to the show. This is your real estate specialist, realtor with Coldwell Banker here doing my show today with you, the Real Estate Connection on KFAX 1100. And we're going through the documentation that you need in order to obtain a full loan approval with most lenders in the United States of America and California. So we're going through personal identification, income, and then accounts. Okay, so we were going through accounts. So if you have bank accounts, right, you're going to be sure to include all pages, your last 2 bank account statements. So a lot of us are getting these accounts emailed to us. What's really nice about these banks, though, is you can go in, log into your account, and you can download your statements and print them out. So you don't have to keep them all in a box in your house somewhere, right? They're on the cloud, and you can go back multiple years. So say, for instance, it only shows 2 years in front of you. If you call the bank, they will send you the statements going back multiple years if you don't have access to them directly online. And then statements for all investments or retirement accounts. So if you have 401ks, IRAs, any type of other investment accounts out there, whether they're gold or their accounts related to REITs, real estate investment trusts, all of that stuff. And then property, settlement statements from previous home sales if applicable, or if you do have investment properties, settlement statements from purchasing of investment property. And what other additional documents may you need? So contact information for your landlord for the last 2 years if it's being requested by your lender and you're a first-time home buyer. If you've been divorced, a divorce decree or a separation agreement and or a property settlement agreement if applicable. So if you're recently divorced and you're still on title with your ex-wife on another property, they're going to want to see the settlement statements in regards to whether or not you owe her or she owes you more money in the divorce settlement. If you're getting a gift for a down payment from a family member, you're going to need a gift letter if the family member is helping you with your down payment to give to the lender to support the gift coming in. And then if you have any issues related to your credit, you're going to need a letter of explanation for late payments, collections, judgments, or other derogatory items in your credit history if applicable. So know that going in, just because you may have a few dings on your credit does not mean that you will not get a home loan. They will just ask for explanations. There's a lot of leeway and a lot of different credit programs out there for you. So let's jump into Fair Housing Administration loans, or FHA loans. Basically, it's all the same. You're going to need identification, you're going to need the income documentation, and then the accounts. And then for property that you may have purchased, you're going to need closing disclosures called a HUD-1 if the sale took place before October 3rd, 2015 for previous home purchases. And then additional information is basically the same as we've discussed for a conventional loan. Letters of explanations for late payments, gift letters, divorce decrees, and contact information. And then what if you're planning to buy a property for an investment? Basically, everything that I've already discussed with you is the same. However, please note that your interest rate on an investment property is going to be higher. It always is. The bank is going to charge you more for your money because you are not living in the property personally. It's an investment property that other people are going to be occupying that may not treat it as well as you do, and so the bank is hedging their bets against you by giving you a higher interest rate when you're obtaining a loan for an investment. Okay, so Marco said I had a minute, so we're going to wrap the show. Thank you very much for joining me today on the Real Estate Connection. I hope you've enjoyed the information I provided in regards to property tax portability in the state of California, and specifically Santa Clara County, and the docs that you need for a loan. I just wanted to say thank you for joining me. Without you, we wouldn't have this show. If you're watching live online, like and subscribe on YouTube, and share if you're on Facebook. I'm sorry. God bless you. God bless the state of California. God bless the United States of America. Let's come together, folks. I know we're really divided, but if we're together, we're really strong. And let's learn to have conversations without getting into arguments. I'll see you next week. Thank you for joining me, and God bless you. And I'll see you soon. And I'm out. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me live. I am going to end the broadcast. I appreciate you guys watching me. Like and subscribe on YouTube, and share on Facebook. If you have questions about anything that was discussed in today's show, contact me directly at info@realestateconnectionradio.com. And with that, I am out. Goodbye, everybody.